Congressman Castro, do you share your colleagues' concerns about these hearings?
Yes, I do. I don't think there's sincere efforts by the Republican Party in the House of Representatives to get at the truth or anything else. And really, these are Benghazi-style investigations that are a substitute for real policy proposals or substantive governing that really works for the American people. And if you think about it, a lot of the policy proposals by Republicans are unpopular. People don't want to see abortion completely outlawed in the United States. They don't want the Affordable Care Act or health care taken away. They don't want people denying climate change. Yet this is what Republicans stand for. And so because they know their policies are unpopular, they're spending all this time on witch hunts.
I got to tell you, Congressman, part of the reason I wanted to talk to you specifically was because I felt like the Twitter hearing and the weaponization of the government hearing, they got a lot of attention. I felt there was less attention lavished upon the hearing about the border and immigration. And part of what I want to highlight here is that I think part of what Republicans are doing are putting things back into their frame, right? So instead of talking about how you end up with the situation at the border, which is fundamentally about a broken immigration system in this country, in addition to push factors in the places that these folks are coming from, they rather talk about the border as an isolated piece of the pie, which then allows everyone else who talks about it to talk as though the entire problem is happening at the border, but absolves them of having to talk about the fact that the key to solving this is in the hands of Congress, which they now control.
Yeah, I mean, the border has been for a long time now, but especially since Donald Trump came onto the scene, the number one boogeyman issue for Republicans. It is the biggest way that they try to scare Americans, that you've got a lot of brown-skinned people who are trying to invade the country and harm you. And it's a way to play with people's emotions, to create fear and resentment and frustration and anger among their base. And to be quite honest, at times they've done it very effectively. And that's why they created this committee. It's not to pass immigration reform. It's not even really to do something about border security. It really is for purely political purposes.
That brings me to my next point, and another headline that I felt did not get the attention that it needed and deserved, because this week the man who shot and killed 23 people at an El Paso Walmart in 2019 pleaded guilty to federal hate crimes. The gunman, an admitted white supremacist, said the shooting was in response to a, quote, Hispanic invasion of Texas. I mean, you were just talking about how your fellow lawmakers continue to use that same invasion rhetoric. What is your message to them about the consequences of the language they use and the policies they are putting in place that match that language?
To Republicans and to conservatives who continue to use that language, your rhetoric is getting people killed, and it has gotten people killed before. El Paso was a prime example of that, and they need to stop with the invasion language, stop demonizing folks who are seeking asylum. But the Republican Party, unfortunately, in the last few years, I thought that this would be a wake-up call for the Republicans to stop doing it. But we've seen Greg Abbott, the Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Dan Patrick, other national politicians now use that invasion language even more. And quite honestly, it's very disgusting.